Every rising country reaches a moment when the world stops cheering and starts worrying. India is not being attacked. India is being slowly squeezed. And that squeeze is no longer hidden. Pressure on oil, pressure on borders, pressure through neighbors. This is not about emotions. This is not about culture or religion. This is about power. India is growing fast. India is making its own choices. And India is refusing to obey quietly. So today we ask one simple but uncomfortable question. Why does the world want to contain India? Let's be very clear. India's problem is not democracy. It is not ideology. It is not values. India's real problem is independence. India buys oil from where it wants. India trades with who it wants. India refuses to fully align with any one power. Here is the reality. When a large country refuses to follow instructions, it becomes difficult to control. And in geopolitics, countries that cannot be controlled are slowly pressured. Containment today does not start with war. It starts quietly, through energy, through trade, through sanctions, through instability around borders. To understand what may happen to India, we need to look at what has already happened elsewhere, not as a main story, but as warning signs. Venezuela holds world's largest oil reserves. China gave Venezuela massive loans. Venezuela repaid those loans with oil. China got cheap energy. Venezuela survived. Then, the United States stepped in. Sanctions increased. Oil exports were restricted. Tankers were blocked or seized. At the same time, Washington sent a clear signal. American companies should control Venezuela's oil future, not Chinese ones. Now look closely at what happened. Was this really about democracy or about controlling oil and influence? India is watching this closely because India also buys oil independently. Now, look at Iran. Despite heavy sanctions, Iran continues to sell oil, and China buys most of it at deep discounts. That oil keeps Iran running, and it fuels China's economy. So the United States tightens sanctions again and again. The pattern is clear. Hurting Iran also hurts China's energy supply. Control energy, apply pressure. India understands this lesson very well. Energy independence always attracts resistance. India does not face pressure only through oil. India also faces pressure on its borders. China keeps tensions alive along the border. Standoffs continue. No final settlement is allowed. This raises a simple question. Why keep borders tense year after year? Because constant tension forces India to stay alert, spend more on defense, and slow down long-term planning. This is pressure without war. Now, look around India. Pakistan remains unstable, yet continues to receive money and support. Security pressure on India never fully stops. Bangladesh goes through a political change. Anti-India voices grow louder. Slowly, Bangladesh begins drifting closer to Pakistan again. Pressure builds from west and from the east. Nepal faces repeated political instability. Anti-India sentiment rises during unrest. Sri Lanka moves closer to China through debt and ports. This leads to one clear conclusion: surrounding a country is easier than attacking it directly. Now let's talk clearly about America's role. Donald Trump often says he does not want long wars. He also said Taiwan is China's problem. On the surface, this sounds like America wants to step back, but actions tell a different story. Instead of fighting China directly, America is tightening pressure on China's lifelines. Venezuela, pressured. Iran, sanctioned harder. Both are major oil suppliers for China. The message is simple. America may say it does not want a war with China, but it is quietly making sure China pays more for energy and raw materials. Now, connect this to India. America supports Pakistan with money and influence, even when Pakistan creates instability. America supports Bangladesh's new setup, even as relations with India grow tense. Alongside this, another pattern keeps appearing. In regions around India, incidents of violence and religious tension surface again and again. These incidents raise emotions. They force reaction. They pull India into crisis management. India is pushed into response mode instead of long-term planning. And when a country is reacting, it is easier to pressure. This is how modern leverage works. Not through direct war, but through instability. Now we return to the main question. Why does the world want to contain India? Not because India is weak, not because India is wrong, but because India is rising without permission. India wants oil without approval, growth without alignment, power without control. This is not hatred. This is fear of a country that refuses to be managed. And the real battle is not on borders. It is about who decides India's future. If this video made you think, please give it a like. It helps this message travel further. Share this video with one person you care about, because sometimes one shared idea can start a much bigger conversation. Tell us in the comments how this made you feel. Agreement, doubt, or a different view. And if you believe understanding matters more than noise, subscribe to ThinkTell, because you think and we tell.